With your host, Linda Weston, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Pets, a new program now happily joining the Hub family lineup of programs on Saturday mornings. I'm Linda Weston from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals, a nonprofit, totally volunteer support group for the Cookeville Putnam County Animal Shelter. This morning, my co-host Sarah Hollick Webb from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals is with me here in the studio, as well as our special guest, Carissa Solberg, owner and trainer at Agility Acres, which is a really fun place. It's just, we'll talk about lots about it. It's tons of fun for people and their pets. So before we get started, Sarah, let's take a quick minute and thank our sponsors who make this show possible.
And we are so grateful to Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center.
And Copeland Veterinary Hospital on 10th Street with 24-hour emergency service.
And Cumberland Pet Essentials, offering pet grooming, styling, and spa, holistic foods, nutritional counseling, and a pet boutique at a new address, 142 South Willow Avenue in the Willow Tree Plaza.
And Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals. So many thanks to each of these groups. So now Sarah and I have the pleasure of welcoming Carissa Solberg from Agility Acres to our show. Thank you, Carissa, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited about this. Sarah and I love watching Agility, but Carissa, let's start telling our listeners exactly what agility training is.
Okay. For those who haven't seen it, dog agility is a competitive sport where our dogs run through an obstacle course. They generally consist of things like jumps and tunnels and things that they have to climb over, and also weave poles, which is probably our most unnatural obstacle, where they just have to weave in and out of a series of 12 different poles. And it's a timed competitive event where the fastest dog with no what we call faults wins, so things like knocked bars. But at its core, it's playing with our dogs, and it's we just train a sequence of behaviors that, because when you start your training, you teach one obstacle at a time, and slowly but surely you put them together until you're doing 20, and then that's agility.
Well, one of the things that seems so neat about it is that the trainer or the owner, whoever's working with the dog, you're really a team.
Oh, very much so. The dog can't go out there and do it themselves. Some might like to try. There's varying levels of how much our dogs tend to listen to us, but that's what the training is about, is we have to build value in working as a team. I have a young dog right now who he's finally figuring that out. He just likes to run really fast. And,
I have one of those.
And he loves jumps and he loves tunnels, and it's really fun to watch him. But now that he's actually starting to take a little bit more direction, I think we're having more fun as a team. He's always had fun, and that's
he's had a lot of fun just running.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about agility, is that even if there's someone out there that's interested in learning more about agility, they don't have to compete.
No.
It can still be just about having fun and developing that bond between you and your pet. And pets of all ages and sizes can be a part and do agility. It doesn't have to be high-level competition stuff.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's actually something I always ask everybody on the first night of classes is, okay, so what are your goals? Some people come in and they've seen this on YouTube and they're like, I want to do that. I want to go to these shows and do things. And other people are like, no, I just want to have fun with my dog. And neither one of those is the wrong answer. But ultimately, even those who are competing, we're still doing it because it's fun.
I love it when you see the dog and the trainer go through the paces, and at the end, and it's usually the little dogs, at the very end, the little dog just jumps into the owner's arms at the end. It's like, I did it. It's so darn cute.
I've taught a couple of mine to do that.
Oh.
And the bigger ones, I always regret it. And
but yeah, when you're sitting on the ground,
yeah, because they come at you with a lot of speed and a lot of force.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, it's one of those things that caught my attention in the beginning too, was all of that looks so fun, that dog is jumping into their handler's arms. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, is there a particular breed of dog that's
better for this type of thing, or any kind?
So some dogs are going to excel a little bit more naturally.
Okay.
Dogs who are bred to work with humans. So we're looking at herding breeds, sporting breeds, things like that. So Border Collies, Labradors, Golden Retrievers, they tend to take to it really well just because that's what they're bred to do, was take direction from humans. But we see everything from Chihuahuas to terriers. Mixed breeds are definitely very popular now that they are accepted in all organizations. So it's all shapes, all sizes, all speeds. There's something out there for everybody.
Well, have fun.
Well, I love it. I love it because it is exactly what Carissa said. It is so diverse, and it is something that's good for you physically and good for your pet. It's something good to do together because it's good for you physically and mentally. A lot of times we forget that our pets need a little direction, and they need a little help kind of being the best pet that they can be, and having the best relationship with us that they can possibly have. Carissa, what kind of things do we as pet owners need to do on the front end? If I was interested in getting my pet enrolled to learn some agility, what do we need to, prep work do we need to do before we come to class?
That's a great question that I get asked quite often. Basically, the thing to remember is that agility is an off-leash sport. So we have to have some sort of control over our dogs, without them just running away the second you take the leash off. So I like to tell people some sort of basic obedience skills are good. I ask that they come into classes with basic understanding of sit, down, stay, come. And then also, because it's a very social sport, you're going to be around a lot of other dogs. Just that your dog is comfortable in that surrounding, not aggressive or reactive. It's a very safe sport. We try very hard to make sure that everybody is kept separate. But accidents obviously happen.
Sure.
So being able to have good vocal control of your dog is pretty important. But aside from that, it's something, we're all continuously working on training. I will admit that I teach my own dogs enough obedience to get them from the car to the agility ring. So I am not somebody who is a competitive obedience person. But my dogs behave well in public. So if you can get your dog out, take them out and about to, public parks, public places that allow dogs, get them comfortable in those surroundings. And then I ask people, just play. Play with your dog.
Sure.
Build that relationship where they like to be silly with you, because that's really what it is. We're just playing with our dogs in public.
Well, I like it. So they just need to have just some basic obedience under their belt.
Right.
Be good, of course, socially with people and pets, and just be under basic voice and verbal commands.
Yeah, just come when called.
All right. Wow. Well, how did you get started in this whole thing?
So I used to live up in Wisconsin. I moved down here to Tennessee about 3 years ago now, and I was involved in horse training. And it was very cold one winter, and I had a 3-year-old dog who was full of energy. He was a Lab Shepherd mix, and I needed an outlet for us that wasn't, 30 degrees below zero.
Oh, gosh.
So I had seen agility on TV, and that was back when Animal Planet used to show agility every Saturday. And I found a local facility that offered it, and we started classes one January, and I was hooked. I will admit, I was one of those people who walked in the door and said, how soon can we go to a competition? Because I showed horses, so I just had grown up that way. And he was very good from the beginning. He made it easy. I always say if my second agility dog would have been my first, I might have given up, because it is challenging. There are challenges for people to work through. But Luke was very skilled, and I got hooked. And I think it was within 2 years, I no longer was involved in horses, and I was all in with the dog agility. It's a relationship that is hard to describe, just because with the horses, I boarded, and the training is just a little bit different, and the relationship that we have with our dogs is just a little bit more intimate, I think.
Sure, yeah, they're living with us in our homes with us 24/7 sometimes. And what I love that you mentioned too is that that your fur baby needed an outlet.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, and certainly from a shelter perspective, one of the most common complaints that we get at the animal shelter is my dog is destructive. It is disruptive from barking and just being loud. My dog is a digger. All of these very common complaints that we see, and really it's just simply because that animal might need an outlet and might have
much energy.
Yeah, more energy and really more brains.
Right.
Then it's not being stimulated enough. So I love that you mentioned that, and that if your animal might be having some behavior, what you think is behavioral problems, maybe this is actually just a good sign, a sign of intelligence, and a sign that they might need something added to their life.
Absolutely.
Well, and I bet agility with your dog is a lot less expensive than the competitions with your horse.
That was one of my thought processes going into it, but I'm up to 5 dogs.
Oh, well, I take that back then.
So the more dogs that you acquire, it starts to even out. But yes, in general, I would definitely say that the dogs are, but yeah, it's more affordable.
More affordable.
Yeah.
Well, having had a daughter who was into horses and showing and all this, our daughter's show name for her horse was National Debt, which just tells you how that goes. So anyway, I think this sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about this Cynosport event. Sarah and I mentioned it a couple weeks ago on the show when it was an international championship in Nashville, and you were there.
Yep, I was there. That was my first time attending this event.
And, well, I'll tell you what, let's take just a quick little break, and we'll come back and we'll hear all about how you did in this event. So don't go away, folks. We will be right back with more Let's Talk Pets on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. That's with me, your host, Linda Weston, and Cookeville-Putnam County Animals Vice President Sarah Hollick-Webb on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. Well, Sarah and I have been talking this morning to Carissa Solberg, who is the owner and trainer at Agility Acres, and she just recently competed in a sport called, or an event, I guess, called Cynosport, which is a huge agility event, right?
Yep, it is the national event for an organization called the United States Dog Agility Association. We have several various agility associations.
Okay.
But this was, you spend all year qualifying to be able to attend the event, and then I believe there was over 700 dogs.
Oh my gosh.
This year. So we had a pretty large group of dogs, and it's a big event. It's a marathon. Started on Wednesday and wrapped up on Sunday. So it was 5 days.
Exhausting.
Yeah. And it was really awesome to have such a big event. I call it in my backyard, because normally I have to travel, 12, 14, 16 hours. I try to limit it to that, something I can do within a day or two. So with this one, I was actually able to drive back and forth and sleep in my own bed at night, and it was wonderful.
Did you compete every day?
I did.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, I did, because there's you have options for this particular event for what you want to enter, and I entered everything.
Like what? What did you enter?
So the 2 big showcase events are called Steeplechase and Grand Prix. And so we were qualified to do both of those. And then there is a event called Biathlon, which consists of 2 different classes. I entered that. And then a team competition, which consists of 4 classes that are all rolled cumulatively into 1 score.
So you are part of the other half of your team is Jedi.
Yep, yes.
Tell us a little bit about him.
Okay, Jedi is a 3-year-old border collie, and he is by far the most fun dog I think I've ever had to train. I love all of my dogs, but he just exudes joy in every part of his life. So it's fun, and people love to watch him. And so this was Jedi's first time competing in Cynosport. It's actually my first time as well, so that was really exciting to do that together. And he had a very successful competition. I like to say that, I know he's fast, but I just wasn't aware that he was that fast.
Oh, wow.
And the big competitions like this, I think, just really excite him and make him go a little bit faster. So we started out at what I'll call the bottom for the steeplechase class. We have the opportunity to go to these large regional events around the country to earn the ability to skip around as line of sport, which we thankfully did for Grand Prix, which is a class that's a little bit harder for us. But for steeplechase, we had to start at the quarterfinal rounds, and he won that class, which was really exciting
Yes,
for me
I'll say.
because the competition is very hard. So that gave me a real boost of confidence going forward.
Sure.
And then in the next class, he got 6th place, so he's still up there towards the top. And then finals is Friday night. It's exciting. Everybody stays there. Steeplechase is the fast class, so everybody gets really into it, and the crowd cheers. And so we were seated in 6th place, and he had a phenomenal run on this huge open course. It was so much fun to run, and we got 3rd place and got to stand on a podium.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a YouTube of that run, and it was fantastic. And Sarah, you can't believe how fast.
Well, border collies are pretty remarkable in themselves, and when they've got great guidance like Carissa, I mean, it's just amazing what they can do in a variety of ways and in a variety of sports, and of course in their working atmosphere too. So border collies, if you haven't got to see a border collie work or compete, you are missing out.
Yeah, very entertaining, and just inspiring. Amazing. Well, here you are, right in our backyard with Championship Pet here and teaching. So, how do people find you? Where are you located?
Well, my facility is located just north of Cookeville. I have a Cookeville address, just off of 70. The easiest way to get in contact with me is through my Facebook page, which is just Agility Acres, or my website is agilityacrestn.com. It has all the information about myself, the facility, what classes I'm currently offering. And then if you have any questions, just reach out and ask. I can always give you a phone call if I need to. But my classes are outdoors, which is super fun this time of year.
Yes.
My students have to be a little bit patient as far as weather cancellations and whatnot. Going into winter, I have a general rule of thumb that if it gets anywhere around freezing, that's not enjoyable for us or our dogs. So.
Yeah, no one can have fun, and no one can concentrate then either.
Yeah,
So.
not for shivering.
So are the classes, how do you typically offer the classes? Are they throughout the day? Are they typically evening classes for the folks that work and, have school obligations and things like that?
Unfortunately, dog training is not my full-time job. So, yeah. So my classes are primarily in the evening hours. And there's a general progression that we go through. I start everybody out in the foundations classes, which is really about, honestly, learning to play with your dog. And then they progress through a variety of classes until they're eventually running courses together. The class sizes are kept very small. Foundations I limit to actually just 3 dogs in a class so that you get a lot of personalized attention. And then after that, we've got about 4 to 6 dogs in a class.
We laugh about, learning to play with your dog, but this is important because this is, one of the main ways that you communicate with your pet is through play and through this kind of activity. So we've got to get that right before, we can go on and do anything bigger and better and really further develop our relationship with our dogs. So I like that that's where you start out, and that's kind of where you start everyone out at. And I think evenings and weekends work well for everyone because, pretty much everyone has day-to-day obligations. So it sounds like a lot of fun.
Sarah, there are a couple friends of ours who are involved with Carissa's classes and love it. So, folks, if you are interested in doing this fun kind of thing with your pet, look her up. It's Agility Acres. So you can check her out on Facebook and send her a message that way. Or Agility Acres, what'd you say, TN?
TN as in Tennessee.
AgilityAcresTN.com. And send her an email that way. Just lots of fun, and it sounds like classes will be starting up before too long.
I'm waiting until after the holidays.
Okay,
It's a bad
good.
time of the year for everybody.
Yes.
But yes, I'm hoping to be able to offer some foundation classes for beginners sometime after the beginning of the next year.
Great.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you in one of your classes. I need to first do the obedience part and get that part down before we tackle anything else. But thank you so much for being with us this morning. This was really fun stuff, and I think, folks, if you're interested, go for it. I think you'll enjoy it.
It's rewarding for you and rewarding for your pet as well.
Exactly.